everybody, it's Dina Rico from the Creativity Cave, and welcome to a long overdue episode of Discovering Your Creativity. I'm so excited to share with you kind of a cool technique today, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this and give it a try. It is something that I saw on a video that I just kind of happened upon, and I'm kind of doing my own version of this, but I just like the idea. So I thought I would share it with you, and it's pretty easy. So we're going to make this card, and then I'm going to show you a couple other options. Now, there's not really a name for this technique. It's just multiple color inking. I'm going to use a Stamparatus, and if you've never seen a Stamparatus, this is Stampin' Up's stamp positioning tool, and it's something that I use quite often in my stamping. It's especially helpful with larger stamps, with people who struggle positioning things in precise placement, as well as people who maybe struggle inking things up and getting the images stamped neatly. So I'm going to give you a bunch of tips I think you will find useful. So we're going to start with, I'm using a new stamp set called Amazing Silhouettes, and I'm going to use this butterfly image. Obviously, it's so pretty, and I think it is perfect for this technique because it's not too big of an image, and it's all going to be good. So I'm going to start with a scrap of white cardstock. That's approximately 2 3/4 inches square. It does not have to be perfect. And I'm going to just position that here in the lower right-hand corner. Then I'll take one of the magnets that comes with my Stamparatus tool to hold this cardstock in place for me. And then you can see I've got my stamp mounted here. It's just set up to be kind of in the middle of this panel. And then I'm going to ink this up and stamp it. Now to do that, I'm going to use what we call Stampin' Spots. These are little miniature ink pads, and these are ones that I have collected from paper pumpkin kits. We also used to carry these in a little set. You can currently get them as uninked spots, and they come in a package that you can then take and create your own with a reinker. So you can make whatever color you would want with your own reinkers. So that's really nice. So let me show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with my lightest. I've got 3 colors here: Daffodil Delight, Coastal Cabana, and Granny Apple Green. So I'm just going to take and ink up a portion of this with my Stampin' Spot. And the beauty of using the stamp positioner, by the way, I got to get those out of the way, is that I can stamp this multiple times. So you can see I've got a little bit of ink on there, but I want to continue to build my image. So I'm going to add a little bit more ink on here. Now, one of the problems with stamping in multiple colors is that you sometimes get kind of a rough line between the colors, and you're going to see that here in a second as I stamp this second color. So I did not clean my stamp. I just added some more ink, and you can see there's kind of a pretty harsh line with that. So what I want to do is just ink this up again near that border with my lighter color ink, and then restamp this. And what happens as I kind of keep doing that is not only am I getting a little bit more intensity in my image, but that line isn't quite as harsh as it used to be. Now you can do different things to blend the line. This isn't necessarily the reason I'm doing this, but I just thought it was kind of cool. So I'm going to continue adding a few more color, or one more color to this, and that is my Calypso Coral. What am I saying? Coastal Cabana. This is the color that lets us know God loves us. How could I mess up the name? Sheesh. Okay, so I'm just going to keep inking, and I'm stamping this down several times. And what I'm getting as a result of this is that everything is kind of blended out nicely, and I've got a multicolored image basically without scribbling ink or anything. Now, what's kind of fun with this too is you can really build lots of different colors in here. You could add You could add, like, I'm going to add a little bit more Calypso Coral to this, or gosh, I said it again, Coastal Cabana to this area. And it just kind of gives me a different color. And of course, using my stamp positioner allows me to get the ink placed, you know, precisely. So anyway, I kind of like the colors I've got on here. Now, of course, there's lots of different ways to put ink down. I certainly know that. I just liked this method of doing it with my stamp positioner. Okay, so I love the look of this, and I'm gonna just, I wanted to kind of cut this out. I thought this has kind of that torn edge look, so I thought I would kind of mimic that by tearing the edge. Now, if I rip with the waste paper coming towards me, what happens is it leaves this little ripped edge behind, which is kind of a nice touch. And I'm just going to kind of go around here. I'm trying to keep roughly rounded edges. I don't want any really big edge, like pointy edges sticking out. I'm trying to keep them kind of round, as you can see, and I did a pretty good job of that. Okay, so I've got that. Now I'm going to take and move this out of the way for a moment, and I'm going to take some vellum. So I've just got a sheet of vellum here, and I'm going to position my piece on here, and then I'm just going to trim out this. You can see I've left a good border on here, and I'm going to actually put just a little touch of my Stampin' Seal. This is not permanent adhesive immediately, and then I'm going to rip around, doing the same kind of thing, just going around that edge, leaving, and then like here's kind of a pointy. I don't want that. I want it to be a little bit less severe. There we go. That's better. And so I'll just keep going. Now you don't get that same feathery edge, but you do get a little bit of an edge. The vellum doesn't peel kind of the way the regular cardstock does, just based on its how it is. But there we go. So now I've got kind of a nice little border that frames my butterfly. So I love the look of this. Now I'm going to show you two versions of this. I can't decide if I like this version, and you can let me know in the comments if you did. I took an embossing folder. This is one of our skinnier folders, and I just embossed it down the center of this panel of Coastal Cabana. The panel is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and like I said, I just did it down the center. Wasn't sure how I liked it, so I'm going to try this one to be just plain, and then you guys can tell me whether you like it or not. I kind of felt like it needed something, but after I embossed it, I thought maybe that was a little much. So we're just going to put this plain panel on here, and then you can tell me which you prefer. I love knowing what you guys think about, you know, my designs in terms of one version versus the other. Okay, I'm also going to pull out, I've got a little cardstock strip that's left over from another project. I'm going to trim that up, and then I'm going to use my Banner's Pick-a-Punch and punch the ends. Now this is a 1-inch strip, so I'm just punching the 2 ends off, and then I've got my leftover strip we're going to put on our card. I want to cut just a little more off of there. That's perfect. And this is going to go underneath. Okay, I'm going to pull this off, because remember I mentioned that is temporary adhesive. And then I'm going to pop up one of those layers. Okay, so I've adhered that layer down. This layer I'm going to pop up on top of the vellum, and then I'll put some adhesive on the vellum, which will be hidden by my stamped piece. Okay. And I kind of made these a little off kilter on purpose, because I thought it would be kind of cool. Okay, so now I will adhere this down, and I'm putting a fair amount of adhesive because I want to hold down that vellum panel, but yet still be able to see the dimension of this layer popped up. Okay, so we've got everything adhered. Now one little thing I forgot to do. I need a sentiment for my card. I pulled a little thank you sentiment from the stamp set. Simple, what is it called? Special Moments. I'm just gonna stamp this down in some black ink right kind of in the corner there. And while I do have dimensionals on here, ooh, I got it to stamp okay. Normally I would definitely recommend doing that before you stick it down on your card. I was kind of playing fast and wild with the stamping guides, but they were good to me today. Okay, the last thing I'm going to do, and I didn't do this on my original sample, so I'm going to move this away, is I'm going to do a little spritzing. This is one of my favorite techniques. I've shown this many times. I'm going to take my black marker, put the marker tip in the cap, and just flick, listen. And that gives me that little spritz of black ink onto my card, which I love. So there you go. So let me know, do you like the plain version or the embossed version better? And if you would like any of the supplies to make this project yourself, I will list what I used in the description of this video, as well as a link to my blog post so you can see all the photos of this. Of course, you can do this technique with lots of different stamps. Another suggestion would be to use the Lucky You stamp set. It has kind of that same background that would be really fun with this technique. Of course, you can take the amazing silhouettes and use the different images, change up the colors, and have lots of fun. Here's one more that I did. This one was with Daffodil Delight, Calypso Coral, and Real Red. So lots of options for you. Have fun trying this out, and we'll see you again soon, friends. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you could give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel right here, that would be awesome. We'll see you soon. Bye.